What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we put the real. We put the real in reality or whatever. Period. I'm your host, Pharaoh. Pharaoh. We're joined by wonderful co-host. Girl, it was giving bottom today. I'm feeling girly. And we're joined by the wonderful co-host, Lee baby. How you doing, mama?
I'm doing good. This was a fun week, girl. It's so funny. Like the way this rewind gives, bitch, we just be popping in here and we be like, oh wait, 2 people going home this week.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we should be covering 4 episodes and not 3. Because baby, the shit be all over the place. It be all over the place.
They're figuring it out. They're figuring it out. What is it called? The growing stages, the growing pains. They're going through their growing pains for sure. Like we don't get real Big Brother, the organized version until BB7. I don't believe took them 5-6 seasons, which that does make me think about, because even Survivor, kind of same thing. It took them some time. It took them like that same amount of years to add the idol and officialize that, because they have 2 a year, and it was around season 14, 12, 11 where they added the idol. And it's like, wow, this is the same amount of time it took for Big Brother. And it makes me think, the traitors, is it going to be around season 6 and 7 where we get the real way they're going to... What'd that say?
We on the phone.
LOL. I know that's right. With the traitors, is it going to give... They'll figure out how to do the shields perfectly by season 6, season 7. They're doing all these tests with it. You know, they had shields, they had more. It's like they're going to probably be more organized by the 7th or 6th season of the traitors.
Because the traitors is giving sloppy right now.
It's so sloppy, but bitch, we was like, who going home? Karen went home during Marvin's HO, and Marvin went home during Adrian. It was 2 weeks.
Yeah, because this was last week was the double eviction, and baby, that happened in 48 hours, which I don't know if I mind that a little bit. I kind of live for that. Now, the only thing that's stupid about this season is that, well, these earlier seasons, is that the final 2 will stay in the house for days. This season, it's like 5 days they have alone. I think 4 full days they have alone. Last season or the season before that, it was like 7 full days. Like they will keep them in there with just
BB2 and BB3 and BB4. I want to say was BB2 and BB3. Definitely, it was the full 7 days. BB4, I think it was also the full 7 days of just Allison and June. I remember us gagging about that. I think this is the first time they actually shortened it to not the full 7 days.
7 days. Week, like that's crazy. I did want to give a quick shout out to some of the real ones in the chat. The real ones, girl. The real ones. Alessandro is here, girl. Shout out. Cameron, shout out to girl. They're here. Hey,
shout out to Cameron. Shout out to Pinelli. Shout out to Cheesy, baby.
Hello, baby.
Shout out to Hella Bella. Shout out to Cameron. Shout out to Jim.
Shout out to the real ones. We know not everyone gets into the BB Rewind. Some people will want us to be covering other things. But the ones who are here for Big Brother and BB only, y'all some real ass bitches.
I know y'all real, because there's a certain show on right now. So you being here means you really fucking with us. You really fuck with us
down. And we appreciate that. And I just want to shout y'all out to them bitches coming to chat and start wondering why we covering Big Brother.
Ooh, clock them. But yes, baby, let's get into these motherfucking weeks. Started off with week 9, mamas.
Week 9, child. Nakomis' HOA. How annoying would it be to go home on your allies' HOH because of how the numbers are set up?
You know what's crazy about this? This is something that happens here and there. You know, it's usually a consideration. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes the number doesn't add it up. Here and there, this happens. This being the first instance of this, I know Karen's booty hole was itching from the inside out. My God, like it has never, like no one has ever gotten taken out so nasty. Maybe Marcellus.
Marcellus.
They play early weeks. The thing about Marcellus, the reason why I want to put this higher, I can't tell, is because Marcellus had all the power. That was all you, baby. You had the full golden power, Vito, baby. And he knew that. And he knew it was his fault. This, Karen had nowhere to go, babes. Her closest ally had the HOH. She should have been golden.
Bitch. Golden. No.
You were a retriever.
Nope.
Outside the door.
And then I actually want to, because we have been dragging Karen around here. I won't say dragging.
Rightfully so. We were saying what we were saying.
We have been shocked at the vision of Karen we thought we were going to have to what we have actually with the feed context. Now, I will say, because someone reminded me on Twitter about essentially Karen's like win equity towards the end game. And I never stopped to think that this girl almost could have won. I didn't think about how, you know, because of the setup of the votes, how people do not like Diane and stuff like that. The end she was kind of set up for, which would have been her and the girls, there was a chance for her to actually take it home if girl power all voted her. So I didn't think about that. I will say, you know, there are a lot of people who could get to the end and win based on like general emotions about other cast members. You know what I mean? I do feel like that does make me want to put a little bit more respect on Karen, especially because this is her eviction week. But also, it's like at the same time, like the things that I've heard about Karen is that she is secretly running this game. She's the one doing the dealing and things like that. That is just not how that went down.
That's not a fact. That's an opinion.
Not how that went down. And that's why I didn't realize the win equity, because every single week, no one is respecting Karen at all.
Within the game at all.
No one has liked Karen damn near this whole time. No shade. I think that, of course, she gets Will's vote. And I will say she did do good work with Adria, because I did not remember that Adria said Karen is one of the people she would give a vote to. Karen did some good work with Adria, and that gets her the twins vote if she.
That was that week. It was the week they were going home is when she did it.
And like, so if she's next to Nakomis, she can get Will, the twins, maybe even a Cowboy, maybe even a Drew,
maybe even a Marvin.
You know what I mean? If she's next to Cowboy, Marvin's not voting him, the twins aren't voting him, Will, boom, that's 4. It's like she has some outs, but like she definitely deserves her 10s for that. But at the same time, like I want people to realize that the misconception some of y'all have with some of these players,
stops there.
It's not even just Karen. It's with Marvin. It's with Diane. It's with Nakomis. It's with Drew.
Yeah,
it's like so many people
this season specifically.
I've heard about people, baby, reading the feed context. It's not true. None of it's true.
Yeah,
none of it's true.
What's crazy is this is the only first, and I want to say only season that I felt that with, because BB2 people were actually saying that Nicole Shaffridge was a good player, which is accurate. That was accurate. They were saying Will was impressive, which was accurate. They were saying Monica was going to win. That was accurate. BB3, they were saying Danielle revolutionized the game. She did. Now, Jason, that's a misconception. That's what's it called when you're related, where you're close proximity to somebody, so you get that benefit. That's what Jason was. Yeah, he was associated. It was another word, but yeah, he got that privilege from being associated with her. So Jason is the first one who I felt that way. Jason Marcellus. I feel like people don't talk about Marcellus being strategic, and people talk about Jason eating it up. Those two, but BB4 pretty accurate. No one is relevant other than Allison and June, and then. Here, nothing was right.
It's a bunch of people who are playing at the same level. Like, it's like I said, it's like the thing I've heard was that she's kind of the one making things happen in the season. Karen really has not done that. And, you know, Nakomis, I think she gets credit for the 6-finger plan and then also with the twins. But at the same time, outside of those HOH weeks, my sister wasn't doing much. You know what I mean? Diane, very sloppy. Yeah, very sloppy, very messy, very messy. So it's like I think that the people liking these people, that's good, but I think that definitely over time some things got misconstrued.
100%. So it's fun doing this reality rewind series, and this is why y'all got to tell y'all friends. If you see anybody on Twitter talking about a back door and what, girl, we cleared up this week. There have been so many back and forth arguments, discussions, debates, confusion. I've heard it on other podcasts. It's been happening on our podcast before, between past players have tried to check me on some shit on, is a backdoor considered a backdoor if the person plays in veto? And this is the season that birthed the backdoor. And within this week, Karen, after playing the veto in Final 5, where there's literally not enough people to even not play the veto, she is considered backdoored. She called it a backdoor. Diane called it a backdoor prior to. It is considered a backdoor. The creation of it started with them saying that. They very much so clearly said it. So clear that shit up for the girls too. Okay.
Period. Okay. Well, that's the thing. The girls not want to tune in because the girls don't want to hear that their faves are actually terrible. They don't want that reality. Ooh. They don't want that because, girl, we said it about Jason. They was in the chat arguing about it, girl. There was some girls who still think Karen is that girl. Look, thank you, girl, is that girl. Just don't be shocked when the point's below.
stand by it over there, right? You eat that shit up over there. But yes, Nakomis is HOH. Karen should be completely safe. But Diane very quickly clocks that T. That's what's crazy. It was like the night that she won the HOH, I think, that Diane clocked that T, but we'll get there. Nakomis lets Cowboy know, hey, Cowboy, I'm putting you on the block again. I don't fuck with you. That's what's crazy. Nakomis don't fuck with Cowboy.
Don't give a damn. She don't like that man.
She's one. She shouldn't like him. But damn, at least pretend. Something like she low key
pretend, girl.
Because if she pretended, I'm not sure that this is 1000% accurate. But if she pretended, could he have saved her next week when he was the solo?
It would have taken pretending from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Exactly. There was a period of time in the game where when the four horsemen came tumbling down, I think if she started working with him then, especially how Drew was so close to Diane, if she had made him her duo, they talked game, they built this relationship, then yes, she gets saved at Final Four. Because what we see in the Final Four, which we'll get to, is that he was actually back and forth. He did not want to evict Nakomis. He mainly evicted Nakomis because Drew wanted him to.
Yeah.
So it's like, I do feel like if he had a stronger relationship with Nakomis and it wasn't so up in the air for him, he would have kept her, but she nominated him twice. She's wanted him gone all the way out of the game. He knows this information. So it's honestly, I can't blame him for taking her out because she wanted him out.
Yeah, she wanted him out for a while. So I think he's justified in it. But she just when it comes to Nakomis's caliber of player, which I feel like people do hold her in a high regard. Stuff like this is like evidence of why she might not be, because she truly could have won the game, not just made final. Because if Cowboy saves her, she makes final three. She's beat Drew in 3 HOHs. Drew is not necessarily and they were all quizzes, all three quizzes. That final HOH, that third part is a quiz. She could have beat Drew and could have taken Cowboy and could have won the game had she simply handled Cowboy a little better. Big Brother 5 could have been won by Nakomis. So it's when you come to the score, it's like she's a good player. It's just when it comes to the grace and the sevens,
it's the activeness, because Karen is also really impressive. The way she thinks about ideas, the way she's always game oriented, the way she is very particular in the way she interacts with people. Nakomis, she's very good when she has the power. She's able to make a full out plan, execute it, get her allies to orchestrate that with them. I think both of them are just the activeness. You know what I mean? Diane is way more active, which is why I think she's able to get herself in a position to where she's in the middle, even though she's a very sloppy player, but it's that activeness. Drew, I wouldn't say he's like the most active person ever, but he is active in these little spurts that really, really help him out. You know what I mean? I think if Nakomis and Karen were just more active players, then they would live up to the hype that I feel like they have gotten over the years. You know what I mean? Because
I agree.
Reading the feeds, it's like there are so many conversations that honestly Karen is just not in. Nakomis is just not in. They're not having game conversations really a lot. You know, Karen did it mostly with Will, but ever since Will has been gone, it's been crickets. You know what I mean? There haven't been any mini strategies coming up with, same with Nakomis. Like, it's like if they're not in power or if they're not kind of in the majority, like definitely, then they're not necessarily doing much else. And I think a lot of people kind of fall into that boat. And I think that's a big problem, because the only person who was really crafting the end game that they wanted for themselves, I feel like, was Drew and a little bit Diane. Like Nakomis was kind of just going with the flow. Karen was kind of just going with the flow. And while you can be adaptable and work around those things, like I think that was Karen's main strategy, to be adaptable, to be able to work around anything and then get to the end. And that's why I feel like Karen can honestly get to the end in a lot of seasons. It's just I agree. I don't think she can always win, because you have to get taken to the final two, or you have to win your way to the final two. And this was not a final 5 that worked for Karen, which is why she won. Which is why, like, even with the win equity, was she ever getting the final two? Not in this final 5. Not in that top 6. Like there was a Will leaving really tore her game up from there.
It did, and she didn't pick it up.
Wanting her as a priority, no one really did, and except Nakomis, but that was out of force because she had nobody left. Nakomis was closer with Diane in the beginning, and that kind of went away because of Diane. So it's just, I just wish they did more. I do, because we could have had a different outcome if more people were playing optimally. And I don't think most people this season were, except Drew and sometimes Diane.
Yep, I agree. You know what's interesting about these first couple of seasons, including this one, is that looking at this Final Five board, I would still say these are 5 of the best players of the season. And I feel like I felt the same way in BB4. Although all of them aren't amazing players, I felt like G low-key was one of the better players. Erica, although I didn't love her, she was doing a lot of work with her little trio that she had. BB3, of course, Marcellus, Roddy, Danielle, Lisa. Like, we really do get the better players towards the end of the season every single time, which is very interesting. That starts to kind of go away when meta starts to become more active in the Big Brother world. But these still are some of the best players of the season, regardless. But Karen already wants Diane gone. Karen is pushing Diane to Nakomis real bad, real bad. She's like, well, girl, I mean, technically, we could potentially end up with her on the block, and you know what she did. And...
it's like, Karen, Nakomis is your closest ally in the game.
Girl, just tell her.
Why are you trying to ease her into going after Diane? Like, just tell her, because I think that's another reason why Nakomis was like, well, I don't know, and maybe. I mean, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, because Karen, you're not putting it on the floor
at all.
Tell her this girl needs to go home.
Put it on the floor, girl. And this is why her and Will were a great duo, because she could comfortably strategize with Will, and then Will could do it. Will could put it on the floor with whoever he's talking to, and, you know, tag her along. After she lost him, she was just lost in the wind, girl. Just lost, girl. It's almost like Rubina from BB. Like, not that Rubina was a great player, but I remember there was always random moments where Rubina was like, oh my God, I could do this, and we could do this, and we could do this, but she would never do shit, you know? And there was a moment where T-Core actually would do it, and then T-Core stopped doing it. It was bad, but she's just someone who has ideas and doesn't really do them, or doesn't put her foot on the gas ever. Child.
A lot of people like that have been like that in Big Brother history. It's like, it gets to a point where it's like, you know, you're safe in the game, you're in a good area of the game, but you're not really pushing your own agenda. And I feel like that's always been my fear of like playing Big Brother, because I feel like I am a person who could connect with a lot of people and get to the end game. But as far as winning the competitions and putting up the people that I need to, and making sure the people go home that I need to go home, I don't know if I could do that, because that's just not the type of person I am. And I feel like that's kind of the boat that Karen and Nakomis are falling into. They're not these controlling people that have to have their hands in every pot. They're fine with just sitting back. However, in Big Brother, at some point, you have to be the leader of your own like path, really. You can't depend on other people to kind of just get you there. And that depends on HOH wins, sometimes veto wins. Like, you have to start utilizing those things. But most importantly, the social game of it all. And Nakomis and Karen have mainly been focusing on girl power this entire season. Diane is one of the only people, similar to like Allison and June last season, to have an allegiance with someone on the other side, a full-on allegiance with Drew.
Exactly.
And that really kind of benefited her, especially when the twins came and they started fucking up the alliance and stuff like that. Like, I think Diane kind of got out of it because she was able to have this other connection other than this just one group, you know? And like, once that happens, once the twins took out Will, Nakomis and Karen have been isolated. The only reason why they haven't been targeted is because the twins are a bigger threat. Marvin's a bigger threat. Now we're here. There's no one left, and they're in the minority, you know? I think they didn't realize the danger that they were in the weeks that the twins and Marvin were going home. But now you're in this final five, and there's no way out of it. You have to win your way out, and they're not able to.
Right. Child. So Karen is trying to push Diane, but Diane has a plan. And this is the thing. Although Karen is trying to push Diane because she feels like Diane is untrustworthy and fake and all of that, which is kind of true, Diane doesn't know Karen is doing this. So when Diane is making her separate plan with Drew, and she's like, well, Drew, y'all are going to be nominated, you and Cowboy. If I win the veto, I can use it on you and we can take out Karen. This plan is made separately from Diane knowing that Karen's after her. Diane kind of is just making this on her own accord. And we see later on that Drew keeps telling her, like, yeah, girl, they're really, really close. And she can start saying that they're really, really close as well, Karen and Nakomis. And she's coming up with the idea, the concept that Karen and Nakomis are so close to where they would take each other. So she wouldn't want to go to the end with both of them, which in theory makes sense. I understand that. And I don't mind that concept at all. It's just there's two other people here with that exact same sentence. And I think that's where she's losing me.
And that's what she fucks up in general, because she quite literally did not realize that Drew and Cowboy were the exact same situation.
Exactly.
Diane thought she was in, I think, a perfect end game for herself, but she didn't recognize that she was not the second to anyone. I think she realized she wasn't the second to Nakomis or Karen, but she didn't recognize that with Drew. My thing is, though, the thing about Diane, which is her problem the whole season, is how sloppy she is in the way she does. I guess you can use the word float in this situation, because when she is like having an allegiance with somebody, you know, she is really all about them. She's talking game with them. But as soon as she like internally flips or changes her mind, she does it, you know, socially as well. And I don't even think she realizes it, but people in the house get it. So in this end game, Nakomis and Karen don't trust Diane because of the things that she's been doing. And it's like, if she just wasn't doing a lot of those sloppy ass things, they would have trusted her.
It wouldn't even been a problem.
Been in a bad situation going to Final 3 with them, you know? But because of that, they already know, well, she doesn't prioritize us, so we don't really prioritize her. And now you have Karen, all they want her to go home, which is also, I don't think is the best thing, which is why I don't know where that misconception came from. Because Karen talking about she's would evict Diane over Drew is insane.
It is
insane.
It is.
But it's also a weird spot because it's like,
Diane came up with the plan that got Karen out. So in a way, take that bitch out.
One of them knows that the other is targeting them.
Exactly.
They're both targeting each other. So they both need to just get on the same motherfucking page and take out the others. But they ain't want to do that.
And that's the problem. Like, Diane's best option, in my opinion, Diane's best option is to go to the end with Drew and Nakomis at this point in the game, because Nakomis will then want to take Diane, Drew will want to take Diane, and then Karen and Cowboy can go. I just feel like if you're going to try to achieve that goal, you need to make sure you have the leg up, and Cowboy is the one who gets fifth. Then at Final Four, you can take out Karen, which we saw the results of the Final Four veto. And Diane did really, really well. I don't know if Karen would have beat her, but I don't think Karen's track record shows she would have beat her. So hypothetically, Diane could have took out Cowboy at Final 5, won the Final Four veto, took out Karen at Final 4, and her Final 3 would have been her Final 3. And it's like, you could have literally had Nakomis and Drew in Final 3. Drew would have then had to take you. And Nakomis would have had to take you, and you would have been in Final 2 regardless. And then you could have maybe won the game, or at least got second like a baddie like Nicole Shaffers or Danielle Reyes. You got third, flop.
And
or Allison, like she's not even Allison, Danielle, or
she thought she was. Like, she was so okay with losing to Drew. She has said this several times. I don't know if she thought she actually could beat Drew on the low. That's doesn't she.
And it was like psychological
on the feeds, but I don't know who she would have told that. Maybe the diary room, but I don't see that on the episodes either. I think she was definitely okay with losing to Drew.
100%.
And she thought she was doing it. She thought, I was doing the best to get to the Final 2 with the person that also wants me in their Final 2. Unfortunately, that just wasn't the case.
That was not the case. So Diane comes up with the plan, and she lets Drew know. Drew is, of course, down. Of course, this works perfectly for him. And Nakomis decides to nominate Drew and Cowboy for eviction. And this is when we get to the actual veto competition. The plan is in motion. Drew knows the tea. Later on, they end up telling Cowboy the tea as well. So everybody knows the tea going into the power of veto, that they're going to try to throw it to Diane. Now, are the producers rigging? Why is it just so happenstance the first veto where they can help somebody? What was that? That was very interesting.
Maybe they wanted the Diane and Drew showmans to make Final 2.
I think they did want the Diane and Drew showmans to at least make Final 3.
And Drew didn't even want that.
He didn't. But you know what's crazy? And this is shame on Nakomis and Karen. Drew wasn't even the target. It was Cowboy. Why the fuck is Cowboy?
I don't know how the fuck.
Why is Cowboy the target?
I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, these people are in love with Drew. It's actually insane.
What was killing me? It's very Cody coded. It's very Cody Calafiore coded. Like, baby, target this man. What was killing me was I'm reading the feeds. There's a whole 2-hour conversation between Nakomis and Karen talking about how Cowboy gotta go. I'm like, Drew didn't come up once. Like, they're really Cowboy's this and he's that, and I don't like him that much, and this and this, all this negative shit. How are you gonna win the game, Queen?
Literally.
Like, y'all focused on the wrong.
But I think a lot of people have been doing that this season. Like, this is kind of the season where a lot of the people going home is due to how people feel about them. Like, a lot of, like, this is also a lot of emotional players.
A very emotional season. And the least emotional player, not even Drew is emotional as well, but
I would say he's definitely the least though.
Yeah, he's the least, and it's like Drew being the least emotional is crazy because he is still very emotional. For him to be a level-headed regular dude, he's very emotional all week. Diane, are you sure? Are you good? Are we? Breathe.
No, like he does not trust that girl at all. It's actually hilarious. He does not trust that girl. Every single second of the day, he's asking, "Are you gonna use it? Are you sure? Are you gonna play me? Are you gonna do?" Like he doesn't trust the word that girl says. She'll be like, "I love you so much," and he's like, "Do you really?" Yes, yes.
I promise you, I love you. I promise you, I want you,
girl. She will throw away her entire game for you, boy. Like you need to wake the fuck up. This is your woman. Okay.
Nakomis was HOH and she had like a conversation with her, and when she walked out, Drew was like, "What were y'all talking about?" And Diane was like, "Girl, nothing. We wasn't even saying that." He was like, "Well, were y'all talking? If y'all were talking about me, just let me know exactly what you were." God damn,
boy, Boots, mind you.
But it's like he's like throwing it in her. He's basically slapping her with the fact that he doesn't he doesn't trust her at all. So you would think it would click. You think it was something would click. No. And just be like, you know what? Let me go ahead and let Cowboy go then. But you know what's crazy?
At least let Cowboy go.
There's this concept. There's a concept that people use in every season of Big Brother that if all of their allies are gone, they have to choose me. Why didn't she even think of that? Why didn't she at least think of that? She could have at least just thought, even if it wasn't for her personal reason, she would at least thought, well, I'll have Drew to myself if Cowboy is gone. Why didn't she get there?
Because I think Drew is good at mirroring people in general. Like if a person comes to him with like an issue or a problem, he's going to express the same issue or problem. He seems like someone that people feel like they can trust with information or just trust with their feelings a little bit, because that happens throughout the season in little ways, and he's able to just throw it right back at them, and I feel like believe they have a common ground. And that is what happened this week. Even Karen, Karen had a conversation with Drew this week where she was slightly dropping hints that Diane's a problem, and he was dropping hints back.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like people feel like they could just trust him with this type of information. It's actually very interesting and weird. But Diane and Drew has had several conversations trashing Cowboy. Diane has never liked Cowboy, which is why I don't understand why she was even trying to go to the final 3 with Drew and Cowboy. It's so clear that this is just all Drew. You know what I mean? And it's not like Drew is like thoroughly convincing her, you have to turn on them. Like they've had conversations about that. Like Nakomis is dangerous, Karen is dangerous, but he's not beating it in her head. It's more so, I think she loves him so much that she knows for a fact she wants him in her final 3.
Yeah.
And when she's looking at the game board, she's like, well, I want him, he wants me. Nakomis and Karen are a duo, and they are dangerous.
They are dangerous.
So it's like, well, I can just go with my man. Right. And it's just like, I don't think she's thinking about anything else but the fact that she could be in final 2 with her man.
That's very true. You know what you just made me think of when you said Drew's good at mirroring people? A interesting BB Rewind, I think, and it's probably because I think the seasons that are problematic, because they were so problematic, I did not watch them. I didn't pay attention to them. I don't know the strategy. So when it comes to what strategic seasons will be the most interesting, I do think seeing Paul play BB19, I don't know what he did. I genuinely don't know the intricacies of what he did. But when you said Drew mirrors people, I'm so interested to see what was Paul telling these people, because I don't know. I didn't watch the season. I'm gonna be honest. I did not watch the season. I watched Jessica and Cody flame out, and then that was it. So when it comes to the strategy and who's a great strategic player, you just made me think like that would be interesting to see how he plays in these people's face all motherfucking season. Very weirdly. That would be very interesting, because how do you achieve that? But Drew does, because Drew kind of did that. That kind of is Drew's strategy. Play in everybody's face, behind everybody's back. He's laughing at them, bitch. He's pretending, bitch. He's celebrating with Diane, and then he's celebrating with Cowboy. Like he's very much so that. Very interesting.
He's a really interesting player, like definitely. And I did not think he would be this type of like he has a lot of depth. I didn't realize that he would have this much depth. I thought he was just a pretty boy that everyone liked, but he has a lot more depth and strategy that I did not even know was possible from Drew. And I love it. Like, honestly, it sucks that someone like Roddy gets lost in translation, because I feel like I would compare him a lot to Roddy. Like, I know you mentioned Hayden.
I see that.
But I don't know Hayden, so I don't know what similarities would be there. But I'm like, he reminds me a lot of Roddy, especially Roddy is like he's playing, yet not like he's on his moral high ground, but Drew does read the Bible. He is consistent with that. That's why he bonded with Adria. Like, he is kind of on this spectrum of like a little bit more holier than thou, you know, especially when he's talking shit about Diane, like she's a goddamn demon. But it's just like, I feel like he kind of fits that mold of like someone that is really strategic and is like playing the fuck out of this game yet is being viewed, and I feel like thinks of himself as someone that really isn't this bad guy.
Right. Child. So Diane wins the veto after she was helped by two people.
Yeah.
By two people. She wins the veto and she tries easing it towards Nakomis with this conversation. He has a conversation with Nakomis. She's like, yeah, I would like to veto my man. My man. Like, my man. And Nakomis was like, girl, your man gonna leave you for dead, ho. That's basically what Nakomis said. Nakomis basically said, girl, you saved Drew, and then what? I don't think Drew's necessarily gonna go to bat for you. He's already nominated you twice, or he's already nominated you, and he's nominated me twice. So I don't know why we feel like Drew is gonna be our protector and savior. I don't necessarily get that. Like, girl, he doesn't fuck with you.
I hate when people try to have conversations like this, because the fact that she tried to do this means you think Nakomis is stupid. And if I was Nakomis, I would have cussed her out. I'm not dumb, girl. Just say you want to go stand with your man and you vote not Karen.
Please just say that, girl. Please just say, because after this, Nakomis and Karen immediately had to. Well, Nakomis was trying to keep it cute.
She was.
And Karen was like, no, girl. Like, Karen literally has a conversation. She was like, girl, look, Nakomis, I know you think this is cute and sweet, and that no, the girl is flipping. And then Diane uses the veto on Drew. And then Karen is the renom. And Karen is definitely like, I'm going to fuck home. I think I'm going home. Nicole was like, well, I don't know, maybe not. And Karen was like, look, you're smarter than that, babe. I'm going home. And it's like, Karen clocked. She is going home. You're going home. Very much so.
You're going home.
You're going home. Very, very much so. And she had it clocked, but it was obvious. By this time of the week, it was sealed and done. Diane executed her plan. She already saved Drew. She already promised Cowboy multiple things. She promised them a final 3. They agreed to the final 3. Karen is the renom. Karen can't do anything. She's stuck in the corner. Nakomis is stuck in the corner. So there was nothing to do. We get to the eviction. Karen is evicted unanimously. And Karen says, thanks for that, Diane. Thank you. Thank you so much, Diane. Thank you. Why the fuck did Diane say, how is everything my fault?
Girl,
bitch, it was literally you. Like, you won the veto, used it on your man, took him off, and evicted me. What do you mean, queen?
Like, come on. And that's the thing with Diane. She always is trying to escape blame from herself. And it's like, you cannot keep doing that, girl. Like, throughout the whole week, she's like, why is everything my fault? I don't understand why everyone blames me. Because, girl, you be at the scene of the crime every single time.
Every time. Your blood, your hand, blood is on your lip. Blood is in your hair. Blood is clotted in your teeth, baby.
Girl.
You're fully bloody with the knife in your hand. No gloves. Baby, the glove does fit. Do it quick.
Literally. And then she's trying to explain Nakomis, I just didn't know. I'm just so sorry. And, I didn't make a deal with her. I only made a deal with you. This pinky, I only did that with you.
And Nakomis like, girl, I get it, girl. I know what Nakomis said. She's like, bitch, shut up talking to me. Nakomis do not like her. Nakomis do not like her. Nakomis, as soon as Karen got evicted, as soon as Julie said, Karen, you are evicted, Nakomis said, let me actually play the game. Hold on. It's okay, Diane. It's okay, girl.
The level of gameplay we saw with Nakomis throughout this week is like, where the fuck was she at?
She's so smart.
She had been doing this from the beginning. And it's like, that's because she has this moral compass. And she speaks about this in the show a lot. But she has this moral compass where she does not want to play like that. The whole lying and backstabbing and turning on people. She does not like that aspect of the show. So what she does in this last week, which is lying, bullshitting people and making them feel guilty and things like that, she never really wanted to do, which is why, other than having HOH, she wasn't doing much within the game. Even when she had HOH, her decisions were based on, well, these are the bad people, I'm going to take out the bad people. It was never really on pure strategic reasons. Even though it helped her strategically, it wasn't really for that reason. So I just hate that we didn't get this Nakomis the entire time. Like, she was lying to Diane this week, she was lying to Cowboy, she was lying to Drew, she was lying to all three of them. And was trying to get herself to the next round of the game. And I just love seeing that. And I remember saying that earlier in the season. Remember, I was like, Nakomis needs to get tested. That is Nakomis. Nakomis needs to be tested, because when she was earlier in the season and she was nominated, she did go to work. She was having conversations. She was talking to people. That is where she needs to be at. I'm really interested to see what she does in All Stars the week she goes home, because I know it's early. So I'm like, do you do the same thing, girl? Do you not talk to nobody? Then you get nominated. Now you want to talk to everybody. This is All Stars. They don't work at All Stars, mama.
Right. She reminds me of, maybe not her. Well, maybe her. The only person who came to my mind was Nicole Anthony, because in BB21, when Nicole Anthony was in the bottom, she did basically what Nakomis did. She was like, let me allow them to believe that I can be their ally, but let me try to do these other things on the other side. When she was in danger is when she really trying to kind of activate it. She reminded me a lot of that. Like, you work better from the bottom. Like, I feel like Nakomis works better from the bottom, honestly, like for lack of better words. I think when she's on top, she doesn't know how to gain control. She doesn't know how to use her HOH to her advantage. She puts up Cowboy. Like, she doesn't gather the troops and leads the alliance. That's not the type of player she is. So I think certain players like that they work a little better when they're in a bind because they're better at getting themselves out of pickles rather than they are at controlling the game. So I just feel like that's a better position for her. So I feel like she just reminds me of those type of players. But child, she got to work. We get to the final four. Head of household. Karen is out of the game. Let me remove her. And the final four HOH, it is a trivia one. They still do trivia to this day. It just used to be in this big cute circle box, and that big cute circle box was so tea to me. I don't know why they got rid of that big cute circle box. I always loved that big cute circle box. Now they just got them in booths. Put them back in that box. Drew ends up winning the HOH. Eats that the fuck down. He is the first person.
Oh, not yet.
Not yet. This is his third HOH. Damn, back to back, daddy. This is third HOH. Oh, that's your man. No, or is it Diane's? Let me chill out. It's Diane's. He was the head of household. Very simple week. No shade. He's nominating the girls.
This is where it gets interesting a little bit because the beginning of this week, he's talking to Cowboy on the feed and he's telling him like, okay, this is what it's going to give. I'm going to be on Diane's ass all week. Don't worry. We're still the final two. We're still locked in, baby. Don't worry. You're good. You're good. You're good. And I'm thinking like, is this really what he was going to do? Because there are some things that happen later on in the final week that we're going to get to Thursday. But it's like, I couldn't tell how genuine he was here because within this last little one, it was a lot of bashing Cowboy with Diane and then bashing Diane with Cowboy. That's been happening over the last week or so with both of them. So I'm like, is this real? Because the same like intentional speech and conversation he has with Cowboy, he does the same with Diane. Like, it's not like they're approaching him and he's like, yes, we're final two. That does happen. But he also is going to them about these conversations. So it's like, I can't tell if he was really unsure or if he was just playing with them. Because if he was just playing with one of them, that's sick as fuck.
I think he maybe he is a little unsure. But I think it's both. I kind of feel like it's both from my perspective, is that he is a little unsure, but he also is playing. He playing somebody. He knows. I think in his mind, I'm playing one of them. I don't know which one I'm playing, but one of them is getting played because I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to pretend with both of them. But that's that on that. He nominates Nakomis and Diane, of course. And at this moment, I was like, maybe Diane's going to, not that the final four matters. The final four nominees do not matter. But Drew has already nominated Diane at final 6. And it's like, it just, there's a essence of not giving a fuck about a person that he exudes. He exudes, I don't give a fuck about you. If this was a love show, if this was Love Island, I would actually hate Drew. You do not like this girl. You hate this woman. Like, you hate her. And I feel like it's just so obvious. He's always questioning her about things that don't even matter, about things that do matter. It doesn't matter what it is. He's punishing her for things. He's putting her up for kissing Marvin. It's kind of weird and toxic-y. And it just seems like she doesn't get a hint of any of that. She doesn't get any of that. And it's like, what's it all goes over her head.
And the thing is, she did not want to go up. Like, even though Final Four nominations does not matter, she didn't really want
She didn't want that. He didn't care. He never cares. He never cares about what Diane wants. When Diane said, let's vote to save Will, he said, and didn't. The fuck? He doesn't give a fuck. He does not care. Oh my God. She doesn't listen. Listen, queen.
Please, we get to the... But she was just delusionally in love, girl. Dangerously in love.
Dangerously in love. Crazy in love. Delusionally in love. All of it, girl. Child, we get to the power veto competition. It was putting the veto winners in order. I'm not saying these bitches are dumb, but I just feel like I could have done this. I was literally living there. Like, what happened? Like,
yeah. At first, I thought it was a little bit more, what's the word? Difficult than that. Yeah. But then as it went through, I was like, oh, wait, it's
really just that. It's literally just that. But they were Drew struggled real bad. I'm like, was that on purpose? I just couldn't have been on purpose. I just don't know why he struggled so bad. He got 14 minutes. It took this nigga to do it. But Cowboy ate. This is his first competition win, I believe. He won the veto. This was the most important.
Say, though, it was really interesting because I guess I don't know if Diane was doing this because she truly was loyal to Nakomis or what. Well, she kind of said it, but basically Diane was like, if she wins veto, she would have to use it on Nakomis because she has to prove to jury and Nakomis that she can keep her word with somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like, that would also have been beneficial for you as well, because Cowboy goes home. But like, did she see that portion of it? I don't know.
I think I can't say with her. But when I was watching, in my mind, I was like, oh, she knows it's best to go with Nakomis and Drew to final 3. I shouldn't assume for Diane because Diane doesn't know a lot. So I shouldn't say she knows, but I was interpreting as she's using this as an excuse to Drew, but in reality, she knows it's a little bit better for her to go with Nakomis than Cowboy. But I can't tell. Would have been interesting if she did win and she did use it on Nakomis. That would have been way more interesting than this because Cowboy won. But hey.
Flop.
And Nakomis,
Diane was just doing anything in this in-game, man. Because like it had been sloppy, but it was working for her.
It was kind of working. Yeah, it was working.
It wasn't always just intentional or as pristine as it could have been because of how bad she fumbled this in.
She like just walked in. She kind of rolled her way into it. I don't know. It just felt so unintentional. It seemed accidental sometimes. Sometimes it seemed like she was doing something, but that's why being active always works because she's doing something. And so it achieves the goal, even though the stuff she's doing is sloppy. Same with Allison last season. Allison was so active and it was fucking her up, but you being that active gets you so far in this game. It doesn't matter. We saw it with Josh, BB3. You remember we was like, oh, Josh is going home. Oh, Josh is going home. Oh, Josh is going. Josh made like top 8. We're like, why the fuck is Josh still here? We thought Josh was going to go home. Week 1, that you know, that hairy man, he was bald. He was on Danielle's season. Him. But yes, he made it so far.
I know who he was talking about.
He's so far. Some of the chat may not.
Girl, other people might talk about the goddamn show.
Child, that's deep. But no, Nakomis goes to work because she's finally playing the game. She pulls Cowboy to the side. Well, she's talking to Cowboy, and she's like, "Well, who are you thinking about? You know, what were you thinking about doing? Who are you thinking about going to the end with?" And Cowboy was like, "Well, you know, me, Diane, and Drew have a final 3 deal." And she was like, "Oh, okay." She did not know this. She should have clocked. She should have peeped. Because they've been hanging around each other. They weren't hanging around her, but she didn't peep. And she's like, okay, I'm just playing to kill. And Cowboy was like, well, you know, I'm not sure because me and Diane and Drew, we have this thing, but there might not be something. And Nakomis says, well, you know, Diane is going to take Drew to final 2 if y'all make it there. And Drew is going to take Diane. Really spelling it out for this king. Well, it's actually not real. This is actually invalid because Drew took Cowboy. But she's trying to spell it out to this king. Look, they could take each other and not take you. And he's like, you know what? I hear that. I do hear that. That is true. And I am scared about that. So, you know, that's a good idea. He talks to Diane.
Feel like someone just needed to have this conversation with Diane. Like, Diane, you don't see that they've been
it wouldn't work
in the 4 horsemen from the beginning. Diane is very open to switching her mind. She does it a lot.
Not on Drew.
So I do feel like it could have worked. I do on Drew. A little bit.
I think it could have made her wake up a little bit. It kind of happened with Janelle on BB7 because Diane to Drew is what Janelle was to Will the entire season of BB7. And then Erica had a conversation with Janelle and was like, Janelle, hold on. They're going to take each other. And Janelle was like, oh. And she had this random epiphany randomly at Final 4, and then she finally did something. So maybe you're right. Maybe one conversation with Diane could have done it, or a couple conversations with Diane could have done it, because that's what happened with Janelle. Are they similar? They both bad bitches who not that good at the game. They kind of are similar. But Diane talks to Cowboy, and she eats this up a little bit. No shade. Because, and I don't know how.
Under the bus.
She doesn't seem genuine to me, but she's effective because she's like, well, Cowboy, I know Nakomis. Oh, because Nakomis was screaming and crying. She was screaming and crying and crashing out, and she was yelling all last night. The next day after that occurs, Cowboy's very confused because all of that screaming Nakomis was doing. He made the deal with Diane. Drew wants him to save Diane. Boom. So Diane has this conversation. She's like, well, you know, Nakomis was doing all that screaming and yelling, but she wanted your ass out. She was the one who wanted your ass out. I had to go against her. I had to go against her to save you. he was like, well, yeah, you're right, but you do have Drew and Diane was like, honestly, I'd be dumb to sit at the end with Drew. Which she will be, and she knows she will be, and she is accepting.
And she doesn't give a damn.
She said, honestly, Cowboy, I'm dumb. That's what she said. Because she said I'd be dumb to sit with Drew, and she wants to sit with Drew. Please. And Cowboy was like, well, yeah, no one really should, but you know, what would I do? Because you're gonna take it. She was like, honestly, I probably will take you. He's like, well, if you can promise me. She's like, I promise.
She's such a liar, and I live because you know how many people in Big Brother that would be like, I can't lie, I just can't. Yeah, Diane gonna lie. I'll take it. Yeah, bitch. If that's what you want, that's all you need. And this is so funny because this became like a thing of an annoyance on the feeds because essentially they felt like Cowboy got on this power trip. Ever since he is basically trying to make them both campaign. He's bringing it up in conversations where it's not relevant, like. Nakomis is expressing her sadness about the week, and he'll just bring up, I have to make this difficult decision, and yada yada yada. Like he keeps making it about him, and it's like this isn't about you, Cowboy. You have the veto. It's not all about you.
Is it giving Davon and BB22 with that veto?
It is.
My God!
It very much like
that one competition you won.
Executive decisions because this is hard. This is a lot.
Oh my God!
But it's also interesting too because. I think the conversations throughout the week he was having with Nakomis, he was having with Diane, they were both basically campaigning in their own ways. And honestly, Cowboy was very unsure. Like he was not giving an answer. He was not giving a response to anyone because he was truly unsure. And there was a conversation where he was talking to Drew and he asked him, he said, if I evict Diane, are you going to be mad at me? And will you not take me to final two? Drew said, I'm not going to be mad and I would still take you to final two. So for a minute, it looked like he was going to keep Nakomis.
And Drew would not have been mad.
And Drew, I don't think Drew would have gave a damn. But you know, Drew always wants his own thing to do.
Exactly.
So what we saw was Drew having a lot of small conversations, pushing the fact that Nakomis wasn't fucking with you. Nakomis has 3 HOH wins. She can beat me. I'm not scared of Diane in the end. I am scared of Nakomis. Those conversations. And I think, as time went along, Cowboy was gonna listen to Drew. He was. Even though Cowboy he cannot trust Drew like that because literally this week it gets exposed that Drew was in on the Jace back door. Cowboy heard about it, confronted Drew. Drew was like, I'm sorry. And Cowboy was like, I know, it's okay. Like Cowboy will listen to any man. He's one of those people. He's gonna listen to any man. Very much Turner.
Very much so Turner. History really repeats itself. There's so many similarities in these characters and players and shit. Ciao. So we get to the decision. And Cowboy stands up there and he says, Nakomis, you are my sister. You're my sister. And I appreciated you in this game. But Diane, I made a deal and I'm a man of my word. I'm using a veto on Diane. Now get this. He's not evicting anybody. He's using the veto on someone. And who he uses the veto on stays. This is so silly. And this is the first time it's happened in this way. Because in BB3, there wasn't a Final Four veto. And in BB4, Allison was nominated. So she won the veto and there was a replacement and she evicted. But this, because he was off the block, they're just considering it him vetoing Diane. And then Nakomis is just getting evicted by default. And it's like, this is so silly. Just say he evicted Nakomis, please. And the way Julie was making it, who are you going to use the veto on? This isn't cute. Don't do this. I wonder when they stop this. Probably next season or season 7. But boom. Nakomis is evicted. We have our big 3. Don't need a big speech. Drew, Diane, and Cowboy. Who do you think winning, girl?
I don't know. It could be anybody.
Nakomis said, Julie asked Nakomis said, Drew won the game already, baby. She said, Drew won the game. It's nothing. Drew has won the game. Please. Like, she's not even batting an eye about it. She knows Drew won. It's obvious Drew won. It's his son and his daughter. And Drew. Truly. Ciao. That was that. Oh, there was a jury segment this week as well. They don't show their opinions on the house guests. They didn't do it much last season. They didn't do it much this season. They're not showing us how they feel about what's happening in the game. They're mostly showing us the drama they have. They're like, Marvin's beefing with Adrian Natalie and Will doesn't like Adrian Natalie. That's it. And it's like, girl, what's the tea? They don't want to tell us the tea. I wonder when we get that. But that was all. Let's get into these motherfucking ratings, baby. Period. Karen has been evicted. What would you give Karen as an overall player, baby?
Karen overall, like I said, I just really was woken up to the idea that she could have a win equity towards the end, which is why I was like very much unsure where I was going to give her before. But now that I kind of have that staple, I'm like, that is true. And we spoke about on the phone about how like she was really intentional in trying not to piss people off as much as possible and trying to be very methodical with every action she did. Very, very strategic minded. I just think that she's not strategically active, and she's not the most socially active person either. And a lot of those things bring her down. I ended up giving a Will a 5.5. I feel like I'm going to go ahead and round her out to the 5. I feel like she's a player that can make it far in almost any season she plays. I just think that she's a player that probably cannot always get to the end because, you know, you have to win competitions. You have to have other allies. You have to have people want to prioritize you. And ever since Will went home, which was evictions ago at this point, she really hasn't had anyone that really prioritized her. You know what I mean? Like, she was kind of forced to bond up with Nakomis, but that left them in the end game when neither one of them had control. And I feel like it's because, you know, they didn't really step up and take that control themselves. You know, they were not the leaders of their own game. Even Karen, the week she went home, she expressed how she regrets not using that veto on Adria that week because Adria could have helped them and made something shake. And it's like, exactly, like those are the type of moves that sometimes you have to make a staple in this game and play it. Because Karen leaves this season an underrated icon for many, remembered by many, but I feel like in the grand scheme of like Big Brother, you know, she gets lost in translation. She does. It's because, you know, she didn't make any huge staple, you know, and if she were to use that video on Adria and Adria stays, it's this whole different dynamic. Who knows how this season even ends? You know what I mean? And, you know, it's like, maybe she still doesn't win, but you did something. Like for me, this is my ideal. Like I would not want to sit in the show playing this behind the scenes game where I'm making everyone like me and I'm not pissing people off, and then I get to top 5 and go home. Exactly. I was like, I've wasted my time for 3 months. You know what I mean? Because Karen was not about to get to the end of this game. She really just was not. So it's like, I wish she would have done something. She also wishes she would have done something because she said it and really switched this game up. But when the twins became the targets, they were just comfortable with it. It was a lot of comfortability. When the 4 horsemen were running it, all the 4 horsemen were very comfortable, not scared at all. When girl power got the power, all of them got comfortable. And it's like there wasn't any other developments from that. So I have to end up on a 5.
Yeah, you're spilling about her. I what I like about Karen is not the most active player, but she's an intentional player. And it's rare when you get those in this old school era. I love that she had so much intention. She does things strategically. At the beginning of the game, her and Will's duo was, although they weren't Danielle and Jason anywhere close, they were a capable duo who was positioning themselves very well. Those first 3 weeks when they were making that secret deal with Jace, it was actually effective. Jace genuinely was in that deal with them and it was working. And I really enjoyed how they were able to play the middle, and Karen was a part of that. And it led to, whenever there was this big divide, the boys still thought Karen weren't really with that, which isn't true. But that's been her gameplay this whole time. Her gameplay has been to stay out of the limelight and not be seen as tied to any one person. She was literally telling Diane in the comments, look, I'm not going to be around y'all because I want to make it seem like we're not together, and shit like that would work. And I really feel like her intentionality is what got her to the end game, because she did little things like that. She did little things to make sure she wasn't the biggest target. She wasn't the person, even though people didn't like her, she was never the person who everyone hated to target them. It happened to Marvin. It ended up happening to Adrian and Natalie. Like, it happened to everyone else. And then with her, it's kind of like she was able to kind of keep skating because she kept hiding behind all of that stuff. And it was intentional. So I really like that. When she had her diary room about what she was trying to intentionally do with the jury, I really enjoyed that, because Adrian and Natalie left actually feeling like they wanted to vote Karen. Marvin left, and it seemed like Marvin was okay with Karen more so than he was with Diane, who he hated, and Cowboy, who he doesn't like. So I do think she would have had a lot of the jury votes, and she could have won. And I think I would have gave her probably like a 4.5 or a 4, but because of her equity to win, it really does help me round out and conceptualize her game. So I'm gonna agree with the 5 for sure.
I want to say a quick thing.
Yes.
Anybody in the chat talking about Love Island, I need you to leave.
I know that's right.
I was sitting here, I was dealing with it, but honestly, it's actually incredibly rude to be in this chat talking about a show that we're not doing. It's very rude. We have not even watched the episode. So not only are y'all talking about a show that we're not talking about, y'all are also spoiling an episode that we're not talking about. There's a set day for Love Island. I don't mind people being excited. I don't mind people mentioning it, but y'all are having full-on conversations. I just opened up the chat to full-on conversations about a show that we're not doing. So I need y'all to stop. Talk to them about together or leave. I don't care. Because it's getting out of hand. We're not covering it. We're not going live tonight. We're going live Wednesday. That's your update. Okay?
Ooh, y'all done got out apparently. Daddy Lee don't get Nakomis is next, baby. Nakomis. Damn, this is my overall for her. Wow. Good player in the world she's in. I really love what she can do. Whenever she's in a position at the beginning, when she was in a bind, she gave that veto to Scott. She allowed the Four Horsemen to think that she was with them. Do you know how long it was that the Four Horsemen was like, we have Nakomis, we have Nakomis, we have Nakomis? They didn't have Nakomis. Not one of them times they said it. They said it so many times, and it's because she was so good at playing that up. Then when she did get power, she was good at wielding that power in moments where she had the full control. When she was the HOH, she came up with the 6-finger plan. She executed the 6-finger plan. She single-handedly ended anything that was going on the other side and allowed her to have her side. The issue comes in that part of the game where it's like, what now, Queen? It's almost like Corey finishing off Suri and them. It's like you flip the house and now y'all have all the power. Eat it up, Queen. And then she didn't eat anything, she just backdoored him and then went back to being her little cute and calm self. And I think that mindset she has that Lee talked about of her just wanting to kind of chill, and she's on this loyal run of I'm with these people, I'm not with these people. She's acting like it was a split house the whole season, like it was BB6. BB6, girl, eat it up. You're with it. This is your crew, and that's not your crew, and that's that on that, period. But it was no longer any more crews, baby. Like you ended the other crew. So when you ended the other crew, you needed to find something else to really gather upon. And she was still on the mindset of, I'm with the people who are loyal and who's sticking by me. And Adrian, Natalie, y'all got to go. And da-da-da-da. Come on now, girl. I need you to focus. I need you to think. I need you to do something else. So her lacking that, it really put her back. It pushed her back. And her social game is not amazing at all. She doesn't really talk to anyone. And she mentions, well, Cowboy doesn't really talk to me. And it's like, girl, you don't really talk to Cowboy. Like, you also have to.
She says that a lot, but girl, you don't talk to him either.
You don't talk to Cowboy. Like, and honestly, a lot of the times Cowboy and her do talk. It's because Cowboy's talking to her. Like, she does not really talk. Like, she really doesn't talk. She mostly talks to her people, and that's not good. And I think that really, really stifles her. There's so many moments where she's not active. She's not doing much. She has a lot of high highs, and I really appreciate those high highs. And I think those high highs is what got her here. Her intelligent gameplay at the beginning with the Horsemen is what got her here. I do appreciate her. I'm going to give her the 6. I'm going to give her the 6 overall. Could have been better.
And this is where I'm going to have to make some adjustments in that final player rating. Only with the top 6 of the other seasons, because I know I gave Monica a 7 and I know I gave Bunky a 6. And I want to give Nakomis a 5.5. So I'm going to have to bring those two people down when we get to the final one, because I feel like it doesn't make sense for them to be above her. They need to at least be on the same level, in my opinion.
Same area.
Because I do think Nakomis is very intelligent. It's just that social game that she was lacking. And even though that was like the first iteration of the game, I want to be consistent among the seasons. So I feel like for me, I'm going to have to bring them down when we get there. But speaking on Nakomis, it's basically everything that you said. My biggest qualm with her is the strategy side of it. I know this is the early season, but I think that maybe I'm having a little bit more less grace than Pharaoh. I don't know. But it's just like,
I feel 5.5
things that I feel like could have been recognized by this iteration of the show. And, she was a recruit. Similar to other recruits that we have modern day, it's like she probably just didn't understand the culture of it. And I think that's still a big difference. It's like you kind of get it or you don't get it. And I think that Nakomis got it to a certain extent, but she refused to play what the essence of this game truly is, which was lying, deceiving, and backstabbing. Like I said, we didn't see it until that final week where she went home. We really saw this player, and we saw it very early on too. But throughout the middle of and we saw it when she won HOH. We saw this player. We did. Yep. We saw this player in little moments throughout the game, but she would always drop off of it. And it was mainly strategy. It wasn't a lot of social. You know what I mean? And it wasn't a lot of social strategy at all. Like she wasn't really using her strategy by making connections and things like that. You know, once she got into this group, it did feel like there was just a comfortability there. Once the twins became the target, she was just comfortable. And then she ends up in this end game, and it's like, well, where do we go now? So I think that I have to end up on a 5.5 with her. But like I said, other people have to get adjusted too, because I don't fully agree with
you're spilling on the 5.5 because I was thinking 5.5. I think I'm still adjusting. I think I'm still adjusting them based on the fact that this is still an older type of season. So I think in my mind, I'm just gonna give it a 6 because you mentioned Bunky, and honestly, she's like the BB5 version of Bunky for me. Like what Bunky did in BB2 is similar to what Nakomis did in BB5 for me.
That's why I was like, I think we went too high.
So maybe a little too high for Bunky. But Bunky also, but this is the difference. Bunky is a mixture of Karen and Nakomis because everyone was voting Bunky to win. Everyone is not necessarily voting Nakomis to win.
I forgot.
Every single person was voting Bunky to win. It was like Karen. So he had that girl, don't matter, fuck a Bunky. No say. But I do think Nakomis is this version. If Nakomis
That's a good comparison.
If Nakomis had every vote to win, I would have gave her a 6.5. If Nakomis was Karen and everyone was voting her, I would have gave her a 6.5, just like I did Monkey. I think she's really kind of the BB5 version of him, which is why I think I'm still curving a little bit. And I think I'm still just naturally doing it because you gave Will a 5.5 and Nakomis a 5.5. And I remember being in between a 5.5 and a 6 for both of them. And I think I'm still doing that 0.5 curve because I'm not going to lie. I was going to give Karen a 4.5. But I was like, you know what? Let me give her a 5. I was going to give Adria a 2.5. I was like, let me give her a 3. I think I'm still kind of curving because it's still old school, but you should know a little more, but not that much. It's weird. But anyways, it's hard, y'all. It's so hard, y'all.
But I feel like by the end of it, I kind of want just this level of, you know,
consistency.
Yeah, consistently.
I get it. Cowboy is next. He's still in the game. He's in final 3. We have Drew, who we have to put ourselves within the season, right? Drew, as a viewer, it's not certain who Drew is choosing between Diane and Cowboy. So I can't just say Drew will take Cowboy. I know Diane will take Drew and lose. And in a way, I feel like it's easier to assume Drew might take Diane, but he doesn't trust her so much that I'm like, he might take Cowboy. But in this world, from what the information we have, I don't know that Drew is definitely taking Cowboy. And that's a problem. Like, it's not like Drew is definitely taking Cowboy. He's definitely evicting Diane, and Cowboy has a chance to be in final 2. That's not true. You know, I don't definitely know that. It seems like he could, but it also seems like Diane is never taking Cowboy, and he won't win if Diane wins the final HOH, and that's also a problem. So I think he's definitely the less, in my mind, he's the least solidified in this final 3 because I don't feel, well, him and Diane are kind of equal, and it's like it's up to Drew. They're not taking each other. They're both taking Drew, and for them, it's kind of up to Drew who he decides to take, and we don't necessarily know. I think it seems like he would lean to Cowboy because he's so self-interested. He wants to win this game. He doesn't trust Diane. He put her up 2 times and not Cowboy either of the times. So I could say it might lean to him. But will Cowboy win? Cowboy is least likely to win the final HOH, and that's also a negative. I think he's least likely to win. I think it's slightly up in the air if Drew will take him. So that's not good either. If he makes final 2, can he beat Drew? Because he's not going to make final 2 with Diane. Diane won't take him. He won't take her. Could Cowboy beat Drew?
Well, we know the answer to that.
we know the answer, but
not thinking about the answer. I would only not thinking about the actual answer. I would say he'd get the twins. I know that for sure. Other than
he would get the twins, but other than the twins, I don't think
who the fuck else would he get?
I wouldn't assume anyone else would vote him, even Diane. But I will say, I would probably think if Drew cuts Diane, will she be bitter? I would think that in the moment. I'm not gonna lie, I would think that, but that still wouldn't be enough. Like, I don't think I'm confident he could even beat Drew. So I'm landing on it's up in the air for everyone, but I want to put him a little lower than the other 2. I think I'm gonna give him a 4 because he's not likely to win. Maybe a 3.5 because I don't see him beating Drew in final 2. I don't see him winning the final HOH, and I don't see him taking Diane. All negatives. Drew might take him, but that's not solid. I just don't feel confident. 3.5.
Yeah, I think I'll just end it on the 4 with this one. only because there's just not much else that he's been doing with his game. Like he's just kind of at this point, and we know that there was a 1 vote off from him winning the whole thing. But like if I'm thinking about what I know from what I've read and seen so far, like we said, like I don't definitely know that he's gonna win this game, and he's not saying, "Oh, if I win, I'm gonna take Diane and beat her," which he could be saying. And it would be like, oh, okay, but he's not doing that. It's kind of all up to Drew. I think both of them got to a point in this game where they were just allowing Drew to decide on what they wanted to have happen. 100%. So to me, that's less than. They're in the final 3, so I don't want to go like low.
Yeah.
But as far as like playing
anything
in this game, they're not giving much. Neither one.
Diane, girl, what's your thoughts?
And I gave it a 4 last week. I'm giving it a 4 again. It wasn't. Hold on, actually. Hold on.
This is a loser, baby. She's not winning.
Pause. Cowboy, when Karen went home, Nakomis went home. They both did not want him there. Because we're going based off both of those weeks. And I'm like, they both did not want him there. And he was still there. He didn't really do. Just bump him up to the 4.5. I'll keep it the same. Because as far as the position is still there, I'm just going to knock some off still because he got dragged there basically by Drew. And Drew doesn't even give a fuck about him. Diane, you took out Karen. I'm not mad about that. I think Michael could have went first, but I'm not mad about that. But it leads you into a situation where you can't save Nakomis. So it's like maybe I should be mad about that because you should have took out Cowboy. Either way, it was dumb shit after dumb shit. It's a 2.
Yeah. You got to bring her down.
And now she's in the end game with a nigga that don't even want her.
I'm giving her the 2 as well. But also it's the fact that you taking out Karen, not the problem. The way you did it, you're not getting her vote, mamas.
Oh, didn't even think of that.
Karen's not voting you.
What is she getting at all?
Karen's not voting you. Nakomis isn't voting you. Will isn't voting you. Marvin is not voting you. Adria and Natalie are not voting you. You have 0 votes to win the game. Truly, Drew is kind of stupid for not bringing the dummy. He kind of almost lost to Cowboy. It was 4-3, King. You should have took Diane. It would have been 7-0. You would have won unanimously, mamas. He was a little too uppity. I don't know why he did that, honestly. But yes, this is a loser. 2. Drew, this is a winner. Girl. He's getting taken by Cowboy. He's getting taken by Diane. Whoever he takes, it seems like he will win. The gag is he should have took Diane, and he could have almost lost to Cowboy. That would have pissed me off. He ate this up. He helped make Diane comfortable enough to take out Karen. You know what's crazy about Drew? This was Diane's plan. He was not so active to where he came up with the plan and he told Diane to do it. No, Diane had a plan. Drew allowed her to do it. With Nakomis, Drew allowed it to happen. Very much so allowed it. So still very positive. He's going to win the game. But his gameplay within these 2 weeks weren't necessarily extremely active. He kind of just let Diane do what Diane does, which is ruin her own game. Which is crazy because I wanted to give him like a really high score, but he didn't really cause any of this. He just benefited from all of it. You know what I mean? But he's in an amazing position. He's probably going to win. I'll give him the 8 for winning the game, literally. Lee.
Yeah, girl. I'm so sorry. Because I took a screenshot of all of our like final ones. Like I said, I want to try and like keep it consistent the further we go in it. And I'm like, damn, girl, I think I got to bring Lisa down.
Not Lisa.
Only because I gave her an 8. And I'm like,
that's good.
I'm not feeling the 8. Because I kind of want to give, I'm like Drew, because I gave Dr. Will, a 7.5. And I know why we gave him that 7.5 because of how Nicole was and how his game was kind of contingent on Nicole for a while. But I'm like, it seems like Lisa should also be at a 7, Dr. Will at a 7.5, and I want to put Drew at a 7.5 overall. That's why
you think they should be equal.
Basically, I'm gonna make those adjustments when we finally get there, but I'm just like looking to see like what am I thinking.
I don't know. See that. I see what you're saying.
Not to bring the conversation up earlier than when it need to be, but it's just
see what you're saying though.
But this week I agree with the 8. Yeah. I mean, this was the end game that he wanted. He got it. He's being taken to final 2 by either one of them. He's probably gonna win his way there. He has the best ability to win competitions. The win equity is also there from what we've seen throughout this entire season. Everyone loves him. Like he is in the prime position to win this game. It's his game to lose. I'm surprised Cowboy even got 3 votes. The thing is though, it's like I don't imagine Cowboy would ever get in that fourth vote. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I can't wait to see who that third person was, but it's like, it's crazy that he even got those three.
Yeah.
But I feel really highly about Drew's game. I'm just thinking about like the winners overall. Like, we gave June an 8. We gave Will a 7.5, which I feel like I can still stand by those two scores. But I'm like, I don't know if I want Lisa to be at an 8 no more. Because I'm like, should I give Drew? Loki, I was like, I should give Drew an 8. I'm like, nah, maybe just a 7.5. And it's like, if Dr. Will and Drew a 7.5, Lisa ain't no 8, in my opinion.
I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking Drew at 8. I was thinking Drew an 8, but we'll have to see.
I think I'm gonna do a lot of adjustments. I'm looking right now. I feel like you should do it too. I'm looking right now. I'm looking not like in the top 6. I'm fine with. It's just like literally, I have some people in the top 6. Like I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to adjust G score because we got G a 6, and I'm like, I can't Nakomis. Is that for you? Nakomis I give a 5.5. I'm like, I don't think G is that much. A full half a point higher than Nakomis.
Yeah.
Like that's just how I'm looking.
And I think that's what happened with me. I think
it's like
I think I've still curving these people. So I gave Nakomis the same score as G, so I'm kind of comfortable with it. That's why I don't think I will change a lot, because I think I'm going to probably give Drew an 8, so I'm going to be fine with him being equal with Lisa. You know what I mean? I think that's what's going to end up happening. Child, we gonna see though, girl.
That's fair. We gonna see.
Let me adjust them because I got to put them in order, because actually it's not in order. Wrong way. Diane is at the bottom. Diane is losing.
Child.
At the bottom, Diane is losing.
We should do.
Then Cowboy, then Drew.
Maybe
what should we do?
BB 27 start. We should start color coordinating jury from the people not in jury.
Oh, you're so T.
I don't know why I thought of that. I was like, I would
you're
love
so T for that. What would be a cute color though?
I don't know.
What's a jury color? What's the color of jury? Red? Or should red be pre-jury? No. We could do purple because we're the reality kingdom. Purple's ugly. Should it go with the season?
I kind of like that greenish you were kind of on.
Which green? This one?
No, it was like a muted green.
Was it this one? Was it dark or light?
It was like darker. We could think about it another time. But yeah.
That's a good idea though. That's such a good idea. But yeah, y'all, this is it. That's it. We have 2 more episodes. We need to do is talk about the final 3. So make sure you watch episodes 30 and 31 by Thursday, because we will be discussing it. We will also be we'll be going through what Lee was just talking about, which is the past ratings we've given the people over the seasons, and discuss the little top 6. I think eventually we're gonna have to bring that down to like the top 5 or something, because when we get more and more seasons, it's like ooh, too much going on. But we'll talk about the top 6 player getters, and we'll talk about what else we're gonna do, girl. The other shit. Just be here on Thursday.
The 4 countresses in that picture, they kind of eating that picture up a little bit.
They're eating this up at the bottom right. I saw
that.
I was like, this is eating.
Shy Boy Simmer says, I'm interested to see what you guys change and why. Will you show us after? Yeah. So in the finale of these BB Rewinds, we're gonna compare and contrast this season with the other BB Rewind seasons, and that's when we're going to make those changes. I'm saying it out loud now because I'm like, we're about to do it Thursday, so I'm just like thinking. But every change we see, we're going to make, you're going to see. I don't know if Pharaoh going to make any, but I'm making a few, bitch.
Lee making a few. I might not make any, y'all, because I'm doing my little curve. I'll explain more of it, of the way I think about it on that day, because we talked about it. We talked about it a lot on BB2 and BB3. Like we consistently talked about the curve with these first 3 seasons. We didn't really bring it up at all this season, and I can see if you're just, because these are flops, so it doesn't really matter. But it kind of does, but it kind of does because they're bad. So we'll talk more about it on that day that we talk about it. But yes, get into it or whatever. Also get into the other shit. I know the Love Island girls love this. Tomorrow we will be live. We will be live to talk Love Island tomorrow, and then of course on Sunday. There's only, I think, 2 or 3 more weeks of Love Island, so stay tuned for the 2 or 3 more weeks we have left, because we are building up to Big Brother season, baby. Next week, Big Brother does premiere in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
what?
9 days. Big Brother premieres, baby.
It's given we finna get the cast of the house this week.
It's given we finna get something next week. If we get something next week or this week, we will be going live to discuss it. Baby, we're gonna be here all motherfucking summer talking about Big Brother, so make sure you're motherfucking there or whatever, period. Also, if you haven't sent in your votes for one of these 10 shows for our Reality Rewind series, make sure you send in your votes. The link is in the description. Vote for one of these 10 shows or whatever. I'm not gonna read them out. And also get into the Scripted Kingdom, honey. I posted Brokeback Mountain. I also actually have fully edited my recap, my monthly recap. So my monthly wrap up is actually going to be coming first, and then Elio has been recorded. I just have to edit that and post that as well. So make sure you get into the Scripted Kingdom, baby. The link is in the description. And thank you for keeping it real with the Kingdom, baby. We're out. Bye.